محمد على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين جل الله عنه فرجه الشريف جعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره وشيعه. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين ورحمة الله وبركاته. I am very grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving me tawfiq to be with you and commemorate together Arbaeen of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. Such gatherings that mu'mineen come together to remember Ahlul Bayt, to reflect on their hadith, is very highly regarded by Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. And as you remember in the retreat, I read for you the hadith that it is considered as a revival of the affair of Ahlul Bayt, the cause of Ahlul Bayt. So we are very grateful that Allah gave us this tawfiq. Also, we are very grateful that there are tens of millions of people in different parts of the world commemorating Arbaeen of Abu Abdullah in different places, in different kind of gatherings, and especially millions of people are in Iraq, and either they have completed their Ziyarah or they are on the way to Ziyarah. They are right now doing Ziyarah of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. We are very grateful for that, and you don't know how to thank that in this age so much people show love and appreciation of this gift. Alhamdulillah. As I have said in some talks, I think Ziyarah of Arbaeen that we witness today is a very good preparation for coming of Imam Mahdi Ajalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. And inshallah, if we can protect it and safeguard it by not losing it and by not letting it go to different directions and remains pure, inshallah, it will help a lot in preparing people for coming of Imam Zaman and also protecting our youths and our, young generation. What I want to share with you is a kind of reflection on what we find in many hadiths about Ziyarah, where a condition for acceptance of Ziyarah and reaching very high level of nearness of Allah, like forgiveness of all the sins, like going to heaven, visiting Allah, is introduced as something which depends on knowing the one that you visit, حَقَّ مَعْرِفَتِهِ. So this ma'rifah, that is a condition for acceptance of Ziyarah, needs some reflection. This will be an addition to our discussion about Ziyarah that we had in the Ziyarah trip, and also last year in a similar time, I gave some lectures on Ziyarah in Chelmsford for some moment in UK. What I like all of us achieve is to have a system in your thought of Islamic knowledge framework, and then the content, and then if you have this system, whatever you learn, you can put it in the right place, and then it just helps you to understand better. Having lots of scattered information is not very helpful. So in KLC, we try to look at everything in a systematic way. This is why I many times also make reference to different lectures so that you know where to put this piece. In many books, like Al-Kafi, like Kamil Ziyarat, we have a chapter about condition of knowing Imam, whether it is Imam Hussein. So we have a chapter, but sometimes also we have for Imam Amir al-Mu'minin Salam, for Imam Razat, that there must be ma'rifah. For example, in Kamil al-Ziyarat, there's chapter 54. He calls Al-Bab. Al-Bab al-Rabi' wal-Khamsun. Okay, chapter 54. ثواب من زار الحسين عليه السلام عارفا بحقه. The reward for someone who visits Imam Hussein while he has a ma'rifah of the right of Imam Hussein. What is the right of Imam Hussein and what is ma'rifah of the right of Imam Hussein? First, let us see some of these hadiths. The first hadith is من زار الحسين عليه السلام عارفا بحقه غفر الله له ما تقدم من ذنبه وما تأخر. You at the same time learn the merits and outcomes of ziyarah, but also you understand what is the condition for that. As I said in the retreat, I said it's not that any action can physically or mechanically help us. Yeah, you need to have good reason for doing action. You should have high attention and sincere intention. We said everything goes back to these three. So even ziyarah is not something mechanical that you put your body in a place and then you are zahir. What is the reason for doing this? Why you are there? What is your understanding? How much you have attention? What is your intention? Okay, so everything needs these three elements. So man zara al-Hussein, whoever visits Hussein. We already talked in those discussions about ziyarah, that ziyarah is an action for entering the sacred zone which is created by someone who is continuously remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. في بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع ويذكر فيها اسمه يسبح له فيها بالغدو والآصال رجال. So because they continuously remember Allah, their house, their spiritual house, not physical house, their spiritual house which can be extended to many different parts of the world. Physical is limited, but a spiritual house of the Prophet is in Mashhad, in Najaf, in Karbala, in Qom, in Kazimain, Samarra. These are all parts of a spiritual house of the Prophet. And as you remember, we said, even when we go to Ziyarah of Imam Raza for Izn al-Dukhul, we say, Allahumma inni waqaftu ala babin min abwab buyut nabiyyik. So in Mashhad, we are entering house of the Prophet. And these are Ahlul Bayt al-Nabi. Yeah? So Ahlul Bayt, they don't have their own house. They live in the house of the Prophet because there's a household of the Prophet. So ziyarah is such conscious attempt to enter into that spiritual zone. So if you make ziyarah of Abu Abdullah, عارفا بحقه, while you have ma'rifah of his haq. Indeed, if you don't have ma'rifah of his haq, you can still benefit if you go with respect. For example, there is someone who doesn't believe in Imama of Abu Abdullah, but still, as a grandson of the Prophet, loves. There are people who visit shrines or, I don't know, tombs of people who are not Ma'soom in even Sunni world, especially in Sufi traditions. Sometimes they have, shrines they go and visit. So maybe someone who doesn't believe in Imama also visits. There are many non-Shia who go for visit. They get some light if they go with the niyyah of Ziyarah. But if someone goes for Ziyarah with ma'rifah of the right of Abu Abdullah, which I will explain what is that, غفر الله له ما تقدم من ذنبه وما تأخر. Allah will forgive his earlier sins and later sins. Okay, whatever has happened in the whole life, with this ziyarah can be forgiven. Of course, it is clear that this person must not be a person who is insisting on sinning. Yeah, because if you are insisting on sinning, you are not muttaqi, and your sins will not be forgiven. We are talking about someone who is worried about his sins. He's feeling terrible about his sins, wants to get rid of burden of his sins. Okay, it has happened. But he's very sorry, and now he's doing tawbah, visiting Abu Abdullah alayhi salam with his ma'rifah, helps your tawbah, helps your attempt to get rid of this darkness which is caused by sins. We are not talking about someone, who keeps sinning and doesn't mind and just says, okay, every now and then I go to Ziyarah, I kill myself, then I, again commit sin. Or someone, for example, is taking riba, usually from people, and then it doesn't stop, but says, I go to Ziyarah, I spend part of this money from riba for Ziyarah, and then I will forgive them. We are not talking about such people. We are talking about people that they want to ask for forgiveness. They want to be purified. So this is one hadith. The next hadith is
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Just I changed the page so I want to make sure that is.
ثانية على حب الزهراء. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ثالثة على حب الحسن والحسين.
اللهم صل
على محمد وآل.
The next hadith is عن هارون بن خارجة. He says, قلت لأبي عبد الله عليه السلام إنهم يرون أنه من زار الحسين عليه السلام كانت له حجة وعمرة. He says, I asked Imam Sadiq, it is said, here it's written Yarawna, but maybe there is a vav missing, maybe it's Yaruna. Either they see or they narrate that whoever visits Imam Hussein has sawab of Hajj wa Umrah, one Hajj and one Umrah. Of course, we have even more than this, but he wanted to check this. قال لي من زاره. Imam Sadiq said, whoever visits Hussein, I tell you something more in my words. من زاره والله عارفا بحقه غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه وما تأخر. This is more than just getting reward of one Hajj and one Umrah. Wallah, by God, whoever visits Hussein alayhi salam with ma'rifah of his right, his earlier and later sins will be forgiven. Again, you see this ma'rifah is. In another hadith number 3 is the same, just the sanad is different. Hadith number 4, قال أبو الحسن موسى بن جعفر عليه السلام, Imam al-Kazim عليه السلام said, أدنى ما يصاب به زائر الحسين عليه السلام بشط الفرات. The least, the lowest thing that a visitor of Abu Abdullah in close to Furat, Euphrates, will be rewarded. أدنى ما يصاب به إذا عرف حقه وحرمته وولايته. Now we have 2 more words which explain further its concept of haqq. Whoever visits Imam Hussein there, if he knows right of Imam Hussein and the respect that he deserves and his wilayah, the least reward is أن يغفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه وتأخر. This is very important, but if you are forgiven, it just means that you can be saved from punishment. But you need more. You need to go to heaven, and you need to, to go higher in your ranks in heaven. So Ziyarah has potential of giving you more than forgiveness. It's the least, which by itself is great. Hadith number 5. Ibn Miskan and Abi Abdullah alayhi salam قال من أتى قبر الحسين عارفا بحقه غفر الله له ما تقدم من ذنبه وما تأخر. Again, the same concept, that if you have ma'rifah of his right, your sins will be forgiven. I go to hadith number 7 because number 7 has something again extra that helps us understand. A person called Hind al-Hannat, he says, سمعت أبا عبد الله عليه السلام يقول, I heard Imam Sadiq saying, من زار الحسين عليه السلام عارفا بحقه يأتم به. Ya'tammu with Hamza comes from Amma Ya'ummu, which is, we use it for Imama. Yeah? Ya'tammu bih means he follows Imam Hussein as his leader. Or in other words, who takes him as his Imam. To ma'rifah of haqq of Imam Hussein is not just to know that he's a very good mu'min or he's a companion of the Prophet or he's a grandson of the Prophet only. To know that he is Imam whose obedience is a requirement, is obligated. Yeah, you have to follow him. If someone does ziyarah of Abu Abdullah, عارفا بحقه يأتم به, doesn't say وَيَأْتَمُّ بِهِ without vav, doesn't say and. So this shows that this is interpretation of Arifan Bihaqi. So whoever visits Imam Hussein and takes him as his or her Imam, follows him, غَفَرَ اللَّهُ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِهِ وَمَا تَأَخَّرَ. Also, this was in Kamil Ziyarah. We have also in other places. For example, we have this hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam again. This is very helpful. Hamza ibn Hamran says, Imam Sadiq said, يُقْتَلُ حَفَدَتِي بِأَرْضِ خُرَاسَانِ في مدينة يقال لها توس. My progeny will be killed in a land, the land of Khorasan, in a city which is called Tus. Because, Mashhad is a name, the place of martyrdom, was not a city at that time. Tus was an important city, and some people who go to Mashhad go to visit Tus because also there is tomb of Ferdowsi, one of Iranian famous, poets, is in Tus. That was a city. Mashhad was a place like in the outskirts of Tus. So Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he has knowledge of future, he knows everything. So he says, my grandchild, my progeny will be killed in Khorasan, in a city called Tus. Man zarahu ilayha arifan bihaqqih. Whoever visits him in that city of Tus, one knows his haqq, his right. أخذته بيدي يوم القيامة. I will take him with his hand. I will go find him. If my words, take his hand. Someone who is in need of help, he cannot come to ask for help. The helper should go. This is why I say it means that I go and take his hand. أخذته بيدي يوم القيامة وأدخلته الجنة. And I will take him to heaven. Then Hamza ibn Hamran says, what is knowing haq of Imam Raza? Say Arif and Bahaqib. What is this Irfanul Haq? Imam Sadiq explained, يعلم أنه إمام مفترض الطاعة. He should know that he is an imam whose obedience is necessary, obligatory. غريب شهيد, knows that he is gharib. He is forced to be away from his family, from Rasulullah, and he is martyr. من زاره عارفا بحقه أعطاه الله عز وجل أجر 70 شهيدا ممن استشهد بين يدي رسول الله. If someone meets Imam Raza with knowing his ma'rif, his right, Allah will give him reward of 70 martyrs who are killed in front of Rasulullah. And those who were fighting, and Rasulullah was with them, and they were killed. This is one important hadith that, although it is about Imam Raza, but explains the Arif and Bahaqih. Another hadith is narrated by Muhammad ibn Sulaiman. So he was with Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam, and he asked about someone that after performing Hajj and Ziyarah of Rasulullah, when he says sending salam to Rasulullah, means perhaps that going to Medina and doing Ziyarah of Rasulullah. So after Hajj and Ziyarah of Rasulullah, goes to visit Amirul Mu'mineen. Okay? He wanted to ask Imam al-Jawad about such case. But it is interesting that this person, when he wants to ask Imam about visiting Amirul Mu'mineen, because he was a learned person, it seems that he was very learned, but he says, visit Amirul Mu'mineen عارفا بحقه يعلم أنه حجة الله على خلقه وبابه الذي يؤتى منه. He visits Amir al-Mu'minin while knowing his right, knows that he is the Hujjah of Allah. So to know the right means to know that he is Imam, he is Hujjah of Allah, and someone that you should obey. And we have lots of hadiths about merits of ziyarah. I just mentioned few of them. So, ma'rifah of right of Imam alayhi salam, if you want to summarize, has two aspects. One is a matter of knowing, one is a matter of performing. It's not just theory, that the theory will say, no, I know that he is Imam and he should be followed. Yeah, it's not enough. You should also act upon it. You should practice this. Okay? Therefore, when I translate, sometimes I say, instead of knows the right of Imam, I say acknowledges the right of Imam. Because if you know and you don't pay attention, you are not acknowledged. So here, ma'rifah requires acting upon that. Especially when in that hadith said, عارفاً بحقه وحرمته وولايته. So, if I know that he is my Imam, but na'udhu billah, I don't follow him, I do my own selfish, vicious things, I act against his will and life example. So I am not someone who is arifan bihaqqi. If you have hurma, if you have respect for someone, even an ordinary person, you will not do bad things in front of him. How can I do bad things in front of Imam and I say, I did ziyarah with his ma'rifah? If someone thinks Imam is na'udhu billah dead, if he was alive, I would not do something bad in front of him, but now he's dead, I can do. Or if he thinks Imam is away, he doesn't know what I'm doing here. When I go inside the shrine, I am careful. So it means that you don't know that Imam is present everywhere. Yeah? So, عارفاً بحقه means that he knows the right of Imam as a leader that must be followed, as a hujjah of Allah whose guidance must be followed, and observes that, practices that. So, just going towards Imam with this commitment is a way for getting rid of our sins, for refreshing our soul, for gaining light. This is blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We cannot thank Allah enough for this, that Allah has made ziyarah such powerful way of helping ourselves. We may forget things, or maybe we were young, maybe we didn't know. Anyway, for different reasons, we may have made mistakes. But the door is open, and Allah has even facilitated, this quick way of getting rid of all these burdens of the sins. If from now I decide to follow Imam and act as his true follower, just doing ziyarah of him helped me to refresh myself and start from scratch. Even not from scratch, with some capital of light. Because in some hadiths gets reward of many hajj and umrah. So it's like someone was not listening, for example, to his father, got into, drugs, gambling, etc., lost all the money that father gave him, plus now has lots of debts. Okay? But goes to father is very kind, he says, I made mistake, I want to take your advice. And father says, okay, now I help you to pay off these debts and start a new life. Of course, not every father can do that, but imams can do that. Allah has given them the ability to help millions of people if they want to get rid of all the debts that they have created, all the minus that they have been to and come high to the extent that in one of these hadiths, those who visit Imam Hussein with his ma'rifah, كَانَ كَمَنْ زَارَ اللَّهَ فَوْقَ عَرْشِهِ, is someone who has visited Allah like someone who visited Allah above his arsh. So I wanted to share with you this aspect of ziyarah. I hope inshallah Allah grants us tawfiq to do soon inshallah ziyarah of all ma'sumeen with their ma'rifah, and may Allah inshallah accept ziyarah of all people who are performing ziyarah or have performed ziyarah inshallah. And may our ziyarah inshallah be connected with the ziyarah of Imam Mahdi ajalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. You know, if a group go and visit, I think if even one of them is connected, it helps the rest. Yeah, imagine you are a group of Zawar, 40, 50 people, 100 people going for ziyarah. If one of them, his heart or her heart is connected, it helps the rest. So if our ziyarah is connected to the ziyarah of Imam Mahdi ajalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif, because he goes to visit Abu Abdullah alayhi salam, then we will be changed. I chose a poem for Arbaeen to share with you. This is by a famous poet, which still is alive, for decades, has been serving Majalis of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. So he is trying to explain the situation of Lady Zainab salamullah alayha in Arbaeen, when after 40 days went to Karbala, close to the body of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. It is in Farsi. I try to also explain it in English. عمر ما بعد تو چون بسمل بیبال گذشت. In Farsi, when a bird, like for example a chicken, when it is slaughtered, then we say bismil. So bismil sometimes means to cut off the head, because they say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So he says, Lady Zainab said to Abu Abdullah that after you, we were like headless, birds. نه 40 روز که هر لحظه 40 سال گذشت. It was not just 40 days. Every moment was like 40. It was not just 40 days. Every moment was like 40 years. When you are just waiting, you see time is very slow, passing very slow. If you are just waiting. But if you have difficulties and suffering, it's even taking more. So Lady Zainab says, for us, this was not just Shahid rules, not 40 days. Every second was like 40 years. آمدم با تو بگویم به چه احوال گذشت. همه جا بر من چون گوشه گودال گذشت. She said, I have come to tell you now what happened to us. If I want to summarize, everywhere we went, for me was like the time that I was close to the place that they killed you. You may imagine the most difficult moment was when she went to, we say, Gowdal Qatlegah, the place that they killed Imam alayhi salam. But it was not just that moment. The difficulty was so high that everywhere was like that. کاش آن دم که ز نعش تو جدا گردیدم عوض تو سر خود را سر نمیدم. Oh Hussein, I wish when I left your body, instead of seeing your head on the spear, I would have seen my own head on the spear. It was much easier for me to be killed than seeing you in that condition. از زمانی که جدا گشت ز پیکر سر تو، ماند جای سم اسبان به روی پیکر تو، کعبه نی داشت به کف قاتل بعد اختر تو، تن آزرده من شد سپر دختر تو. From the moment they separated your head, Ya Hussein, from the moment that they went with their horses on your body, I tried to be always a shelter for your daughter. مادرت فاطمه را گوشه مقتل دیدم. I saw your mother, Lady Fatima, in the same place that I was there, where your body was there. ناله وای حسینای برا بشنیدم. I heard cry of Lady Fatima lamenting for you, O Hussein. دیدم از حنجر صد چاک دعایم کردی، سر خود را سر نی راهنمایم کردی. Oh Hussein, I saw that even when your head was on a spear, you were praying for me. With your head, you were trying to guide me and show me direction. گاه از گوشه گودال صدایم کردی، گاه بر نوک سنان گریه برایم کردی. Sometimes you called me, sometimes you cried for me. سر تو گم شد و بی روی تو سر کردم من، دیگر از بودن خود صرف نظر کردم من. Then the poet says Lady Zainab was deprived of seeing the head of Imam Hussein because Khuli took the head in front of Caravan to Kufa. روز رفت و شب خود بی تو سحر کردم من. The day finished and I spent my night without you, Hussein. ظهر فردا به سوی کوفه سفر کردم من. Tomorrow midday I went to Kufa. این دو روزی که ز دیدار تو بودم محروم، ذکر من بود فقط وای حسین مظلوم. In these 2 days that I have not been able to see you, my words were just calling you as the one who was oppressed. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. Now with attention and with inshallah maximum remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we call him. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم وبالقرآن المستحكم وبفاطمة وأبيها وبعدها وبنيها وبدم المظلوم يا الله 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 يا رحمن يا رحيم يا أرحم الراحمين يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك واكفنا يا قاضي الحاجات يا كافي المهمات إنك على كل شيء قدير اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Oh Allah, please comfort the heart of Imam Mahdi Ajalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif by sending your salutations and condolences to him. Please make our Imam happy with us. Please make his faraj easy and soon. Please include us among the people who serve him before and after he comes. Please send your rahmah and maghfirah to all mu'mineen and mu'minat, all the lovers of Abu Abdullah, especially those who have rights upon us, those who taught us the beauty of Ahlul Bayt, those who took us to Majalis of Hussein. Please have your maximum mercy for them, Ya Allah. Please bless the soul of our parents who have passed away with your light and be very kind and generous with them. And please bless those parents who are alive with health, with joy, with dignity, and enable us to serve our parents. Please give shafa to all people who are ill. Please give shafa to all people who are ill, especially those who have severe illnesses. Please grant hajat of all mu'mineen and mu'minat. Please solve their problems. Please solve those problems that make their life bitter. Please unite our community everywhere in the world under your banner. Please strengthen our community, our institutions, our houses, our schools, our madrasas, our community centers. Whatever you have given us, please preserve and grow for us, Ya Allah. Please make the last moment of our life the best moment of our life. رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة مع الصلوات. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We are also connected with the brothers and sisters, so I offer my salam to them and condolences. May Allah inshallah reward all who are present and all who are connected and all who will watch later. May Allah inshallah bless all of you. If you have questions, comments, you can inshallah have some of them. Can you check if there is any message? Of course, we have not announced in advance, so I don't know how many people are available. But other people?
No questions.
No questions. Okay. Yes.
Sheikh, the dua when entering the Zari.
Yes.
Please can you explain that in terms of
Is the dukhul you mean? Yeah, so For example, when we go to Imam Raza alayhi salam's shrine, so we say that, oh Allah, I believe in hurma, respect of Imam and ta'atihi, fi qaybatihi, when he is, it's very interesting, it doesn't say fi mamati, it's this now, it says qayba, means when I cannot see Imam, as I believe fi hayatin, so when he was physically alive, and when he is not physically alive, but he's still alive and present, I believe in the same hurma, the same respect. So whether I am in front of Imam physically or I am not able to see him, but I know Imam is there, I should have the same respect. And for sure, when you respect someone, you will not do something against the will of that person. Yeah. So this is one point. Another point is that we say to Imam, Ashhadu annaka tashhadu maqam. This is part of our ma'rifah of them, that we know that Imam is aware of our presence. Wa tasma'u kalami. You hear me. Wa taruddu salami. You reply to my salam. But we know that I cannot hear Imam's voice. Yeah? حجبت عن سمعي كلامهم means إذن دخول وفتحت باب فهمي باللذيذ مناجاتهم. I'm not able to hear Imam. Imam can hear me. Even if people are speaking hundreds of languages at the same time, Imam can understand. Okay? But I cannot understand because Allah has made hijab. Hajabta sam'i and kalam. I cannot hear Imam's call. But fatahta baba fahmi billadhid munajatan. But you have opened the gate of understanding for me. That without hearing Imam, I can understand and have the pleasure of munajat of Imam. Imam is whispering to his visitors. Yeah? Here whisper means he is not speaking loudly, but he speaks to your heart. Yeah? Therefore in Mashhad I told brothers and sisters that when you go to the shrine, don't just keep reading, reciting and talking. Let Imam whisper to you. So you should be silent and try to control your mind, doesn't go anywhere, and as if you are in front of Imam. You know, when you go to Imam, okay, you say Salam Alaikum, etc. I have come from this, I have this, other, but then you have to be silent so that Imam speaks. It's not good to you know, an alim, for example, and all the time you speak and then you say Khuda Hafiz. You have to speak, but you have to also be silent. And then there is lazza, laziz munajat. Yeah. If you know we were just hearing Imam, maybe that didn't have that pleasure that now without hearing Imam inspires our hearts. Yes? For those who have grown up in understanding, they want to understand the will of Imam, but it's more pleasing if it comes directly to your heart. When you hear something, maybe you misunderstand, mishear. But if it goes directly to your heart, then you don't misunderstand.
Brother Mustafa posted a message saying, Alhamdulillah, we are united here in Montreal with Brother Reza and family, Brother Zishan family, Brother Jawad, Sister Fatima, and Brother Muhammad Bijahid. All sends their warm salams and Adamallah Ajr.
MashaAllah. Thank you very much. May Allah, inshallah, bless all of you and accept them. So very happy to hear that they are together, mashallah. Alhamdulillah. Yes.
You made a comment that
maybe you can say who are present here.
So here, lots of people. Yeah, maybe you can do that.
I think you should put the camera.
Sorry.
Just turn. Just hold it.
just like that. So it's much easier. There we go.
MashaAllah. If yes,
Sheikh, you made a comment that I want to highlight because it really resonated with me. You said sometimes we think the Imam doesn't know what we're doing and he's only in one spot.
yeah,
And that's when we do the Ziyarah, we're going to that one spot. But even if you have that mentality,
yes,
like when the husband is away from the wife must obey in the absence. When the husband is away, the father is away, the children must obey in the absence.
Yes.
There are certain things that the man does not want to happen.
yes,
So similarly with the Imam of our time and the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, even if they are, you can't see them, then we still have to obey them in their absence.
yes, exactly.
That was a very practical tip for me personally. Like, it's like it's his haqq for me to obey him if I actually want to give him wilayah.
Yes.
So I thought that was very, very beautiful.
Yes. You know, we all, feel very sad that when Imam Hussein said, "Hal min nasir yansurni," there was no one to help him. But to obey him is even lower than helping him. So if you are not helping him, at least you should obey him, because it will be very bad, that we disobey instead of helping. Imagine, for example, a very good person, for example, started a school, for example, suppose, and needs help. But instead of helping, then we disobey and we give bad image, for example, to people about this community, etc. So this is not good. Or someone has made hospital to help people who are ill, but those who want to help him, they don't help him, but it spread virus and germs. So very basic level is obedience. We have to go beyond obedience and even help. As we say, as-sabiqina ila iradatihi. So when you, for example, know your father is thirsty, right? You shouldn't say, he didn't ask me for water. Yeah, should go and offer water. Let alone if he asks you water and you don't give water. That's, you see, the difference is too much. Any question, any comment? Yes.
Sheikh, how can Ziyarah be greater than martyrdom in front of the Prophet? 70, I just one.
Yes.
Even one is, how can a Ziyarah is a lot easier than dying in the way of Allah in the time of the Prophet, depending.
So, very good question. In such a, kind of comparisons, then you should imagine that the one who has been martyred is in the lowest level of martyrdom. For example, someone who didn't have wilayah of Imam. Yeah? So if you have just that level of martyrdom, and then you have someone who with ma'arifah visits Imam, so for sure, if he is obedient to Imam, he is offered to give his life also to Imam. So this is higher. But if that martyr is, for example, Hamza Sayyid al-Shuhada, maybe not. Yeah, but when we say someone who is killed in front of Rasulullah, can be the lowest person. Any question? So, yes.
Sometimes when you go for Ziyarah,
Yes.
you have this spiritual experience and you see things differently for sure. Is this what you would experience when Imam has spoken to you with, then how do you preserve that?
Yes. If you learn something new, if you are able to look at something in a different way, if you understand that you need to change, this, inshallah, is a sign of Imam speaking to you. But if you go there and you hear that someone tells you, mashallah, you are great, I wish everyone was like you, then this is not Imam. This is Iblis. Yeah. If Imam is honest with us, doesn't say you are perfect. Imam says, you have this problem, you have to solve. So even if you learn one of your problems, there is a chance that this is from Imam. But if you just receive blank, check, then this is not Imam.
I guess that you actually need to work on that for you guys.
Exactly. So therefore, it's a time for reflection. Even in Laylatul Qadr, I many times say that we should take some time to reflect. What are my problems? What are my shortcomings? How I can get rid of them? At least promise to Allah, to Imam, that at least I try to fix these problems quickly. And inshallah, I have intentional problem for fixing all my problems. If my relation, for example, is damaged with someone, I try to reconcile. So I try to improve myself. We go to Imam because we believe we are in need. We are, like ill people. We are, ignorant people. We need guidance, yeah? But if we go to Imam just as someone who goes to doctor and says, I'm fine. Doctor, what does it do? So if you're fine, then hold on first. Yes.
One of the most beautiful experiences that I've seen in my life is that of Arbaeen walk.
Mashallah.
How everyone is a unified ummah. And there's extreme selflessness.
Yes.
Everyone is very generous.
Yes, that's
they're struggling and they're going through the journey, and it's very difficult for everyone, but it's still a beautiful experience for everyone. How do we as an ummah channel that energy and translate that to the rest of our lives? Because if we all were always like that, the Imam would be here today.
yes, exactly.
So,
yeah, so Arbaeen is a blessing of Allah to tell us that this is possible. Because if we don't see that, we say, how is it possible? The people who don't speak the same language, they come from different political fractions, I don't know. Yeah. How can they be selflessly helping each other? How there can be no fight, for example, no problem. Maybe we could not even think that this is possible. Like now when we read some of the hadiths about Akhir Zaman, we think maybe it's not possible, yeah? For example, that mu'minin put their hand in the pockets of each other if they need, without being worried that the person may not be happy, etc. So Arbaeen is a blessing of Allah, a great blessing of Allah to tell us that this is possible. Taste this. If you like it, then you should work for making this happen. This is temporary. It's international, but it's temporary. It should become permanent and universal. Temporary become permanent. It's international, but it's not universal. Yeah, because it's local. We need to make this something that is everywhere in the world. And there is a transition. I think we should have at least a community that have the spirit of Arbaeen throughout the year. How much Arbaeen inspires us? If there is a community that is like this, inspires millions of people. Everyone wants to visit. And said, in this city, Shia are united and they have social wilayah, for example. Everyone wants to visit that city and they don't want to leave. Even non-Muslims will be attracted if we exercise that spirit. And my idea is that Imam Mahdi Ajalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif would not come unless he's able to say to the people of the world, look at my people. We have already established this. We want to offer this to them. Because if you just speak about something and people see your own people are not practicing that, who is going to take him seriously? And no one will take it seriously. If I now, for example, speak to people of the world about value of, something, and people see we are not observing, they don't take us seriously. Yeah. For example, we have very great respect for example, parents. Our families are very, close. But if they see we don't have respect for parents, for example, they say, okay, these are just words. Many people have said nice words. They did the opposite. So there must be some people, at least, if not all the Shia, if not 50% of the Shia, at least a sizable group of Shia who practice this spirit of like Arbaeen throughout the year. This is our, challenge. It can be in one place. It can be a network. Because, KLC also has this potential, but it's not like a baby. But it can grow, not just in size, in quality. It can be like a network. So maybe they are not in the same city, but if they have this, connection and this spirit of Arbaeen, then it can be very helpful. Last year, one of the brothers who was present this year also, he said in the retreat, he said it was the best experience he had in his life. He has never been to any gathering, anything like that. We didn't offer a special food or special, beds. What was special was this relation of wilaya between people. Even this year, one of the brothers said, when they were going back, his wife was just crying with the love she received from sisters. So maybe people don't notice that how much they are helping each other, And the good thing is natural. No one tells people, pretend that you love them or respect them. Yeah. It's just natural. That's when a breeze of rahmah of Allah comes, people naturally do good things. In Arbaeen, it's like this. These people are not really selfless. Yeah, some of them are selfless, but some of them, if you go after or later or see them, they are not selfless. They have their own problems. Some are good, some are different. But a breeze of rahmah comes, and everyone is different. Then that breeze of rahmah goes, they go back. But inshallah, they have improved. Every year, inshallah, they have improved. Like when Rasulullah was there for 20 days, it was continuous, rahmah. And people were dying for each other. But the same people after Rasulullah were fighting each other. Those who are clever, when the nasim of rahmah, this breeze of rahmah is there, they try to let it go to the depths of their heart and change. Like true companions of the Prophet. Otherwise, for a few days they are good, they can then go back. But alhamdulillah, it's a great gift. We are very grateful to Allah. I haven't yet heard the statistics for this year. And we pray inshallah everyone returns safely. Okay, if there is no question.
There are two messages.
Yes, please.
First one is Brother Hassan Khadim saying, MashaAllah, great to see everyone. And Sister Shaina Natu saying, MashaAllah, thank you so much, Sheikh, host, and KLC family. Inshallah, we all gather in the Holy Lands next year. So it's from Vancouver.
Inshallah, inshallah, bismillah.
I'm just, you mentioned the condition
that is there for the benefit of the ziyarah. But I'm just thinking through, and if someone truly understands the haqq or the right of the imam, and they understand that the imam is present, then how could such a person sin? And then it becomes kind of a loop in terms of this person can't sin, then of course they'd be forgiven. But the person that's sinning, they've truly not understood the haqq, and how could their ziyarah then ultimately be accepted?
Yeah. Sometimes maybe this person didn't have this level of understanding and maturity. Okay? Now has grown in understanding. Okay? So now goes with his understanding and wants to solve the problems of the past. Also, sometimes maybe has this understanding, but there are moments in life that you go to kafla. Yeah, you commit a sin, and then you say, "Oh, how did I do this sin?" And Imam Mahdi is watching, Allah is watching. So kafla is in the Dua. Abu Hamza, Imam Zain al-Abidin says to Allah, "Ma asaytuka hina asaytuka." It's not that when I disobeyed you, I denied your lordship. Yeah, but it says something like this: "Khati'atun aradat li wa sabbalat li nafsi." Yeah, so I didn't deny your lordship, but it was a mistake that happened, and my nafs decorated and beautified, that sin for me. So it happens that sometimes someone has ma'rifah, but for a moment becomes heedless. And shaitan uses our ghafla. Yeah?
Follow-up question on that.
Yes.
I've heard, I don't know, I may not be describing it correctly, but sometimes it is Allah's rahmah to allow us to fall into ghafla. How do we explain that?
Sometimes when a person is likely to develop ujb, self-admiration, or has already developed, then Allah, in order to humble him and help him get rid of self-admiration, because self-admiration is very destructive. Man dakhalahu al-ujb halaka. If someone has ujb and says, "I am good, I have no problem, I am very close to Allah," this is destructive. So sometimes Allah may let this person, not that Allah makes him sin, it means Allah will leave this person to himself for a moment. He may commit a sin. This sin is bad, but is better than self-admiration, because then with this sin he becomes humble and he asks for forgiveness. But with that, he was becoming arrogant. So sometimes this happens. Or sometimes maybe a person's salat becomes qaza to humble him. Okay, we say goodbye to brothers and sisters who are online, and it's the end of the majlis. Yes. May Allah inshallah be with all of you, and inshallah hope to connect inshallah in the webinar. Bismillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Allah. We also thank Brother Ghulam